以眼消灭。看着我。 希望我能胜任。
这次又是什么问题？
随时回应你的笑容。
Alright, while this plays, I'm gonna make some
借力
food.
打力，以眼还眼。
Been eating nothing but junk food lately.
小可爱们，要好好的看着我。
报错，必须被消灭。
借力打力，以眼还眼。
get some more coffee too. Pom Pom arrived. Naturalized. Hello, welcome. Ben is back. Wow, yeah, dude. I didn't get enough sleep last night, and then I went into work super tired. I don't know how I survived my shift today. Pretty sure, like, I fell asleep when I was in the back, packing shipments. Wait, I had one order that I had to split into 4 boxes because they're plastic plates, but they're a stack of 6. So when I had a 4 stack of 6 plates, it was already like 20 pounds. 17 to 20 pounds. So I was like, well, I kind of have to separate these. These are kind of heavy as hell. It was a bit gnarly. All right, so I got food cooking in the other room. You can hear it popping off right now. I need to real quick grab all these dailies. Be done for the day, but we gotta do a Honkai Abyss and probably do all our other cleanup and stuff. Am I an endgame player? In Honkai 3rd? I used to be an endgame player. Now I'm in retired Lotus. Yeah, I used to actually, in fact, let me unequip this one and let's look at how much I only have 400 days of Myriad left, but yeah, we used to push. Now I just kind of like take a relaxed score and you know, oh, okay, this is cool, whatever. But I used to push a lot. 2022 to 2023 was like 2021 to 2023, I'd say. Maybe even 2020. 2020 I didn't have the account ready for it. CM just started. Okay, if you just started, just get the newest stuff. Don't go backwards. There's a couple of old characters you can kind of slow farm, but like by the time it takes for you to get them online, you'll have already gotten new stuff. Like new stuff is always coming out every version, and right now it's like, unlike the other Hoyo games that are still on 6 weeks, Honkai went to 8 to 9 weeks, so you have 3 extra weeks each version to save up. But also means you have less excuse to skip.
图层文件，还好，脱稿的借口没有成真。
have to grab coffee. Should you buy any Volks with Asterite? So, when you're starting out, your Asterite income is not that good. Long term, yeah, you'll want to farm out everything. Because some of those characters do turn up in Elysian Realm, which is a source of weekly income. What is it? Basic shop, right? Fragments. Basically, Helia you'll want to get right away. And Coralie you'll want to get right away. Because these are kind of your part 2 baseline characters. So those two would be recommended for, like, up front. All the Flame Chasers, like Pardo was used to be really good early on. Nowadays, I don't know if she's worth farming per se, but because like a lot of these are like once you get to double S rank, that's kind of like your they're finally online, quote unquote. But Pardo, this is the character that's kind of like the prototype for Cypher in Star Rail. And then Eden, right? Eden is kind of like 1/2 Algaleo, 1/2 Heselins. But she was a great Electro buffer in this game. Lightning buff damage. Valkyrie Quicksand would probably be your early game Quantum solution. It's hard to say, because a lot of them are still somewhat useful on a new account, but as your account gets older, like, they fall off relatively quickly. Coralie and Helia, though, are probably still okay to farm just because they're part 2 units, and they're part 2 units. They're completely farmable. You can finish farming their weapons, too. I believe... No. You still have to gacha for their weapons, but once you get their weapons, the rank ups are free. And that's kind of the downside, is that even though these characters are all farmable, they all still have like a signature equipment that you kind of have to acquire. Now, most of their gear is available in Battle Pass in some degree, but it's not worth spending your Battle Pass currency on these old weapons, in my opinion, unless you are going the collector route. Now, if you're not interested in collecting, because it takes a long time to collect, you know, for me, it was like by year 3 or 4, I finally started getting some of the harder to find stuff. Guess you need to get New Elysia. Yeah, I would recommend the New Elysia. Fate-Defying Dragon. Well, so this is the part where it's... I would kind of say it depends on your budget, right? If you have a lot of budget and not a lot of time, then it kind of does make sense to just, you know, spend more upfront and just pull on every banner that comes up so that you can kind of build both forward and backwards. I would mostly say that Fate-Defying Dragon and the new Helia from the previous version, Susang and Kiana and Small Durandal, they're all important, but I wouldn't necessarily go backwards for them unless you have a lot of extra cash lying around. Random stuff from pulls? No, I would say that unlike the other more modern hoyoverse gachas, equipment in this game, your 4 and 3 star weapons are just nearly unplayable. Especially now that part 2 has like really ramped up the power curve. I would just say you should just save up, and the next character that you just get their signature equipment. Equipment banner for the weapon is 60 pulls, guaranteed, and then in between you can get the other equipment, and then all the part 2 equipment, aside from the weapon, you can also craft. But it does require prisms, which is on a slower pace of generating. Is there a source for all meta units? I think there's probably still a couple of fan sites around. If you go on Hoyo Lab, there's still like people making guides for Honkai 3rd. I kind of stopped making content around Honkai 3rd. I just casually stream it now. I think Marissa Honkai is still probably the most prolific one on YouTube. But we got in some trouble with him in the past when we tried to criticize his content for... It was kind of dumb back in, what was it, 2023 or 2022 when it happened? But basically, all your meta units, you just look at the last 5 units that released, or all the characters that were released in the last 2 years. That's basically your meta list right there. So you can see here, I'm kind of sorted by release date. My filter is, I don't have a filter here. But here, my list is by release date. So, starting from Teresa Apocalypse, which was the end of 2023? End of 2023, end of 2023. So these 3... But these 3 require older supports. So I might not even recommend pulling for these 3 now if they ever do come up on banner again. Senadina is in a previous battle pass, but basically 1, 2, and 3, this is kind of your core for part 2 starting out. The Lima and Lantern are already starting to fall off. Song Chue is already starting to fall off a little bit. Vita is still really powerful in support roles, and she still gets occasional uprate bosses. This hooligan, still very powerful support. You don't really see her as main DPS that often, unless you're like me and you skipped Sleepy Teresa, which released like in one of these other patches in between. Because Sleepy Teresa is kind of like the your quantum DPS, and then Sparkle's supposed to be the quantum support. Don't you need correct element for MA? At lower levels, or when you're starting out, when you're still in master tier, you can brute force a lot of content, regardless of element. Element is more important for Abyss, I would say. So yeah, like Super String Dimension Abyss. Sometimes, like in the olden days, we used to brute force with just lightning up until you get to the anti-lightning weather. Nowadays, at the highest tier, you do need proper type advantages. But early game, I wouldn't worry about it. Terrence, what else am I forgetting? So each of these new Part 2 characters all have a different style of Astral Ring, and the style of Astral Ring changes how they behave during burst. So like Wheel of Destiny, when you burst, they stay on field, and then all your party members become shadows. World Star is like everybody has their own little special that they swap in and do. Rite of Oblivion. Rite of Oblivion is also kind of weird. I don't even remember what Rite of Oblivion does. Rite of Oblivion also is like you switch it to multiple characters and they all do different things, I think. Or no, I think Rite of Oblivion, it's like the party leader does like a special. Now my favorite one is Law of Ascension. Law of Ascension is great because with the correct Astral Op, which is the Teresa, Overseer Teresa Astral Op, my biggest regret for this current version is that I didn't just go for double S rank up on her, and instead I just left her at S rank. And that's kind of the unfortunate pay-to-win side of Honkai 3rd now. It's like, if you don't invest in the Astral Ops, you're kind of, like, self-scuffing. longtime players have kind of either like finally given up on it and just wail out, or they just refuse to play it. Yeah. Elves and Astral Ops, they just want your money, man. Hoyoverse greed. Dawei needs a new boat. You know, Dawei needs a new yacht. But, yeah, Law of Ascension is incredibly fun. Basically, your entire party member gets a unique ultimate QTE, but you don't have to use them all at once. So you can use one, and then you can hold the others for different timing windows. And I think it's so much fun because you can go back to back, use them all in a row, or you can use like two and then wait a bit, and then use the next one or two. And I just find that there's a lot more flexibility with playstyles. Unfortunately, though, the downside is that it's like, okay, there's a lot of cutscene combat. Helia's is this new one called Grail of Infinitude. Yeah, so FDD is Rite of Oblivion. So she gets a unique action, but the rest of her party members don't. But, Grail of Infinitude is really fun. The whole party shares SP, and then when she casts her ult, it chunks in 300 SP chunks. But she gets a really cool finisher. It's very flashy, you know, lots of spectacle. I would say that combat in Honkai 3rd is more cinematic than Zenless. I feel like Zenless is a cleaner, more modern feel. But Zenless just has like so much upkeep involved, and I just can't bring myself to do that in both Honkai 3rd and Zenless. It's too exhausting, man. Like, Terrence, when did you stop try-harding in Honkai 3rd? Because I know you used to try hard along with me and everybody else on the stream. Like, we used to sweat our ass off on this game. Some people still do. I know Cupcake is really good about finding references and whatnot. So you can see today's probably this weekend is probably a Fate-Defying Dragon cycle. And they're using Hersher Finality. What are the top players using? Yuffie is a freaking nut at this game. I think at my highest I made top 8 on this leaderboard. At this point it's probably a year plus now. So you can see here they're using Vita because Vita provides a level of breach that I don't think regular Kiana will do. Sometime after HSR release. Yeah, when the third gacha kicked in and you're like, I don't have time for anything anymore. Right? Alright, I'm gonna check on my food real quick. Almost back. $10 a day. If you're only doing dailies, yes, I agree. Once you're looking at like catching up on all your events, that takes a little longer, you know. Then you multiply it by the number of total gachas that you're actually playing, right? Suddenly, that 10 minutes can easily spike up dramatically. Back when we were sweating in Honkai 3rd, we would easily kill 3 to 4 hours a day. More if we were playing our second account. And that was the whole thing. Playing second accounts. Yeah, in the time before Genshin, I used to play 2 Honkai 3rd accounts. And I finally dropped the second account after Star Rail. 尽在掌中。恕我告辞。辛苦你了。障碍消除，心坠于此，一切。Yeah, I know, right, Milky Way. 掌中。别跟丢了。复位，计时开始，并肩作战吧。很帅的搭档嘛，我的不朽。不必鼓掌，基础操作。看这儿，嘿，呀，呀，哼，哼，恶龙之怒，啊，赤焰轰鸣。后背，交给我吧，哼，挡不住，还是少不了我。独行者，火力全开，心坠于此，愿你安眠。哼，一切。 尽在掌中，全知的羽翼将撕裂天阙。1、2、3，立掌，上放，抓我啊！呀，嘿，不打，哼，哼，哼，看这儿，嘿，看我恶龙启动，啊！ 这次你有什么新花样？战裂，还原，呀，走你！飞龙在天。Yeah, wouldn't be surprised. Also, wouldn't be surprised if they just gave her a new battle suit too. So a quick glimpse into the history of hoyoverse development for Honkai 3rd. In the early days, they really were just a small indie company. 30 employees max. You know? Thereabout. Ballpark plus or minus maybe 5 or 10 employees. They didn't have the resources in the game, and they were keeping the game at a really small size, because this had to fit on mobile devices from 10 years ago. So in order to keep assets small and whatever, they had to recycle character designs and character rigging and animation. So you'll see that the early battle suits are just reusing the same animations. But what that allowed them to do was focus the story on that, you know, that smaller cast. Whereas, like, Star Rail and Genshin, you know, is like every version there's like 1 or 2 new characters, and you really don't get a chance to really lock in and grow deeply with us with that main cast. They've gotten a little bit better about certain parts of it, you know. It was a really good system for a storytelling aspect, for sure. Yeah. And that was one of Braxophone's criticisms about the storytelling was like, man, you just want to push the main story, but part of the main story has to take a detour just to sell the new character. And it especially felt that way in the last couple of HSR patches. Like, we're gonna reset the time cycle, but we're gonna go 1,000 years in the past just to see Saridra and Hysolence, you know? Yeah, insert tragic backstory. They're gonna die anyways, but here. Make them playable just for you. Because you're the chosen one. So we ran into that in Honkai 3rd during the Elysian Realm arc, which is what the Amphoris arc is kind of based all around. I saw somebody memeing that, like, oh, Xiao GPT, he's can't believe the Hoyoverse let him get away with this again. You know? Xiao Ji was the main writer for Honkai 3rd for a long time, and he was responsible for the Sumeru storyline, or he helped with the Sumeru storyline, but I think he was heavily involved in the Amphoris storyline. So a lot of Amphoris is like recycled, re-exported elements of Flame Chaser arc from the Elysian Realm from Honkai 3rd. But at the time of Honkai 3rd, this was right when they started branching out to, okay, every version we're going to release a new character, and every character was a Flame Chaser. And they were OP in gameplay while also being like, all right, this version, the story is going to focus on them, even if it makes very little sense, because it started out feeling like a giant side quest around Raiden Mei. Acheron Prime, if you will. Cyrene, exactly. Naturalize, you're starting to get it. So Simsir made this joke, and he's a big Elysia fan, but he's like, man, I don't even want to play Honkai Nexus, whatever the new tactical auto chess Pokemon game, right? I don't even want to play Anima Nexus anymore. They're gonna bait with Kiana, and then once the game is struggling, and by struggling I mean like they only made 40 million instead of 50 million, right? He's like, and when the game starts struggling, they're gonna break open the box and release the Elysia, you know? And so, like, you start to see these patterns with the way Hoyoverse conducts these things, and you start getting tired of You know, you just wish that hoyoverse would offer a little bit more substance that you knew that they used to offer, you know that they're capable of offering, but they just don't, just so that they can sell the next gacha character, you know. Yeah, so Naturalized, you know Blizzard Entertainment? They make World of Warcraft, right? Before World of Warcraft, they made this game called Warcraft 3. But after World of Warcraft, they exploded in size. The company got so big. They spread themselves too thin. You know, Activision, Bobby Kotick try to make them sell more, make more, sell more. And their reputation is kind of like went down the drain for a long time. Microsoft finally bought them out and, you know, trying to rebuild the reputation, but it's hard, right? But there was this like time period where, you know, Diablo 3, StarCraft 2, World of Warcraft. Blizzard for a while was on top of the world, and there is a point when you get too big as a company where you kind of lose sight of like what was the magic that made you good to begin with. And I feel like hoyoverse is in a similar position where Genshin just kind of popped off for them, and then Star Rail, you know, just further popped off. And the gacha loop where it's like, all right, we're gonna push a new character, we're gonna make the whole narrative around these new characters just to sell these characters. It gets a little exhausting, you know. Which is good. But I'm kind of glad too that, you know, there's these upcoming games that used to be gacha, and now they decided, okay, we're not gonna do gacha, we're just gonna do light cosmetic microtransactions or catch-up microtransactions, but the core game is gonna be FTP all the way. You know, a little freemium, right? Because now, the way Brax was describing it in his video is like, now you're not tied to all these gacha gameplay loops, right? You can actually make things that are for fun rather than like, all right, we're gonna get the player to engage with this just so they can farm the gacha currency. Roblox and Genshin. I don't know if I'm gonna be interested in that. Like, I don't play Genshin for the player generated content. Which one is Petite Planet? That's the Animal Crossing, right? WoW is back, baby! Yeah, Legion Remix is pretty fun. I actually feel like I'm playing a druid rather than playing a 4-piece set bonus. Should I turn on hard mode? How many stars in Anomaly Arbitration? I haven't played the game mode. Because, to be honest, I lost interest as soon as they said that there's no Jade rewards. That it was all cosmetic. I'll probably need to do that maybe this weekend. Easy for tank, but DPS might just die. I have treants that can taunt. I could just have my treants taunt, right? Yeah, I gotta give it a go. Give Xandar a good old beating. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they brought Vita over. Vita is kind of like a very like anti-hero, smug, villainous archetype. Oh, she's worse. Herta will actually just be honest with you, even though she's a little bit like arrogant. Well, Herta's arrogant because she knows she's smart. Vita is like smug and gaslights you. Vita gaslights you hard. But there's a lot of players that really love being gaslit by Vita. A lot of Yuri enjoyers out there. They really enjoy the Vita ships, you know. I wouldn't even say that Herta's that arrogant, right? She just knows that she's smart. It's just a matter of like, she's smart and she knows it, and she's just blunt about it. She's not like arrogant in a malicious way. Am I marrying Cyrene in the next patch? I'll pull her E0. I know E2 is kind of like, okay, you should pull E2. Because E2 is where everything starts flowing, but it's like... part of me is like, yeah, we already been there, done that, you know? We got the t-shirt.
想我了吗？无论何时何地，艾莉西亚都会回应你的期待。这件也很好看，那件也很好看，啊，真烦恼呀。不如你来帮我选吧，怎么样？
Hey, new here, what's going on? You're not new here, Acheron. Good to see you again. It's been a while. Yeah, I'll probably just E0 for the collection. Because part of me right now is even wondering, should I roll for Evernight? Just because it's like the first real March level up. Not just like, you know, Hunt March, which is like a side grade. But I also heard that Himiko's finally getting her major story arc coming up soon, and I'm a big Himiko fan, so like, do I need to start saving for E6R1 Himiko, you know? Well, rolling her for free isn't the problem, Tank. I need E6R1. That's like, I needed to save up F2P since the launch of the game. How can I say I love her with only R1? It's cause R5 is too expensive. It's the same reason my Moika is only R1 as well. Cause we didn't get lucky enough on the pulls. I'll R5 her standard light cone, okay? Yes and no. I've been able to, in practice in Genshin, actually get a lot of 5 stars along the way since the end of Sumeru, all the way up into Moika, and still be able to save. But it was like I had to do monthly battle pass from the end of Sumeru all the way through Fontaine, all the way through the midpoint of Natlan. I was doing every Abyss, and Theater wasn't even out yet. Theater wasn't even out yet. Theater didn't even exist. Every Abyss, every event. And I still had a lot of open world treasure chests I didn't tap either. So like I had more primos like available. Like in case of emergency. Ads are over, don't recognize me, you feel embarrassed. Dude, it's okay. I know people get busy. Your interests come and go too. Like, I stream the same old games over and over. I'm not chasing the new meta, you know. A lot of my other content creator buddies all moved on to bigger things, you know. Yeah, not mega bonking. Hoyo's in the past, mate. The future is now, old man. We're all playing Blue Protocol Star Resonance. No, that game did look good when I was watching Braxophone's stream. I don't know if I can stomach the commitment to another MMO though. Like, I gotta go back and grind WoW. I got WoW things to grind. Did I see Ghost Crawler is in trouble? What did he do? Ghost Crawler, new drama. Morheim Studio released their games for NetEase and they flopped. Yeah, so Morheim Studio had that one team shooter, and I really wish they didn't make it a multiplayer PvP game. I wish they would have just started out with, like, we're gonna make a great story game that will have PvP as a secondary mode. I feel like Morheim Studio has like has great potential, but the available genres with which to make a fresh game that can, you know, catch lightning in a bottle is I don't think you can make that miracle happen nowadays in the same way that they used to. I feel like smaller contained uh games within a genre that have really strong narrative and just clean execution is more likely to have success. Bloodline Champions. What was Bloodline Champions? No, Morheim Studio made the shipboarding one, right? It was the shipboarding game where it's like Overwatch in space with a mix of you're like boarding the enemy ship and then planting a bomb. Yeah, Rob Pardo's studio's game also looked kind of like lame. The one from Bonfire Studios. I don't know, man. I don't know.
准备好迎接胜利了吗？我们出发。荣光不灭，呀，剑指万里，天涯独步，破万冰。你在看哪儿？拜年时间到，贺岁飞兔。
Okay, so who's the studio that is doing Fellowship? Because I feel like Fellowship actually has like a really good premise, you know?
我比上次进步了吗？这一剑保你吃不了，兜着走。
Well, 2D games are actually doing well, you know? Silk Song, Hades 2. It has no XBliz Riot. Wow. Just a bunch of WoW gamers that really like minigames. Hades 2 is actually 3D. Isometric. Not even isometric 2.5D. Actual 3D. But with a shader to make it look 2D, right?
不问情欲，心无忌。别想逃！拜年时间到，贺岁飞兔！瞧我的！哪里跑？月光破晓，直过云霄。太慢了，尝尝这个。
Yeah, that was kind of the problem with the last survival game that Blizzard had to kill off, right? Because like they were basically 8 years too late to survival genre.
我比上次进步了吗？到我了，又在努力了，我的比安卡，别挡道，气势如虹，长刃击空。
Yeah, I know, right?
攻其不备，一招制胜。看剑。
Every game, yeah. Well,
破万冰。
especially after 2016.
眼花了吧？要变快了。哼。
At least some of the early rehashes were like they had their own take on things and it felt fun to play, you know? This is karma for killing StarCraft Ghost. Yeah, that's true. Even StarCraft Ghost had like more fresh looking gameplay than a lot of the stuff that these successor studios are failing to put out. Speaking of StarCraft Ghosts, like, I wish they kept making little story DLC for StarCraft 2. I think that would have been fun. Like, just keep releasing mini campaigns for $15 a pop. Or even $5 a pop, right? Yeah, people want simple games because they get older and they realize they don't have time to commit to these, like, games that require you to sink, 100 hours into. Oh, Frost Giant? Yeah, is Frost Giant's game doing okay or no? Which one was what was the one that I did the backer tier for? It was also something gate, wasn't it? I open up Steam and I get a woo ad. Stormgate. David Kim's RTS game shuttered. Davey, you know what I'm mad about? David Kim poached Mr. Jack when Mr. Jack could have easily gotten in with Frost Giant. Alright, David Kim RTS game shuttered. Battle Aces stops development. RIP. Five months ago. Battle Aces is a legit good game. I don't know why they're not releasing it. There's no way putting it out at $10 with multiplayer ladder and a few cosmetics in a store for $5 each won't help recoup losses. Root Cats. Sad news. Thought the game was already very fun. You know, Day 9 is Day 9 still hiring for his game studio? Yeah, whatever happened to Diabolical? That was the game that Slasher worked on, right? Yeah, so Stormgate is still out and surviving, but Battle Aces didn't. He really is fantastic. There are a lot about Battle Aces they got right. It just isn't an RTS, but the units feel 1,000 times better than Stormgate's units. If you think about it, the trifecta of StarCraft lineage RTS games is Stormgate, Battle Aces, and Zero Space. Battle Aces is ripped, and Stormgate is in trouble. Zero Space is miles ahead of Stormgate. Man, it just makes me sad reading these. Battle Aces was some weird auto battler thingy, kind of like the push maps, right? It was almost like a RTS light MOBA, kind of how like Dawn of War initially you were just like sending reinforcements to your rally point, and then you do a few micro battles or something like that. Or like that one Warcraft 3 map where it's like your assault on Kultiris, and you have your own waves that was kind of like always pushing, but you had hero units. Oh, like Rumble? Yeah, so Rumble plays just like that Kultiris map. Footman Frenzy, yeah, exactly. Like you have like your spawn points, and you constantly have waves spawning to the objective, but you have to do a little bit of microing, right? Warcraft Rumble.
恶龙降临，还斗行者与我同行。
限制解除。
收到，执行。祭扫，收偏，别想躲。好，统击。嘿嘿，好，打！看我恶龙启动，颤抖吧！这次你有什么新花样？这才好玩。好，不打。呀呀，后背，交给我吧。哼，呀呀，哼，哼，需要我先行探路吗？呀，差点转头。哼，呀，闪亮登场，独行者，火力全开，星坠于此，愿你安眠。一切尽在掌中，和星星一同，没入被遗忘的世界吧。好，立着好，上棒，大的来喽！啊，毁灭吧！哼，挡不住！哼哼哼，左上右下，哼，防得住吗？纵欲，落，快躲开啊！星坠于此，愿你安眠。1、2、3，哼，轰，乖乖站好，呀，消失吧！哼，看我恶龙启动，天瀑燎原。这次你有什么新花样？不必鼓掌，基础操作。
Not 800. Damn. We suck at this game.
大魔王来喽！
The gun, the Kaslana gun katas. Alright, how do we get faster at this?
恶龙降临，这便是独行心间之人。收到，嘿，哼，是，哼，呀，哼，纵欲，落，闪亮登场，愿你安眠，一切尽在掌中，和星星一同，没入被遗忘的世界吧。好，统击，嘿嘿，好，打，复位，计时开始。嘿，哼，呵，呀，呀，祭扫，收剪发，必中。
Can I punch out and go to work?
休闲，一击，快躲开啊！ 独行者，火力全开，星坠于此。哟，好呀，好呀。
Nope. Can't punch out. Go to work that way.
恶龙降临，这便是独行心间之人。收到。
You know what I really wish? I really wish that Marvel Rivals had a single player. Like a actual single player co-op campaign or multiplayer co-op.
你有什么新花样？这才好玩。走你！嘿嘿。好，看，战列，还原。后背，交给我吧。哼，呀，嘿，哼，不赖嘛。哼，是，呀，哼，哼，哼，哼。 差点转头，哼呀！闪亮登场，独行者，火力全开，星坠于此，愿你安眠。哼，纯真的羽翼将撕裂天阙，一切尽在掌中。1、2、3，呀！哦，大的来喽！啊，毁灭吧！呀！看这儿，乖乖站好。 消失吧！复位，计时开始，并肩作战吧！很帅的搭档嘛，多多关照。躲开啊！星坠于天瀑燎原。
Okay, so QTEing Coralie in speeds up the.
恶龙降临。
Okay.
收到，执行。天。 别想躲！哼呀，哼，哼，哼，哼，乖乖站好！呀，消失吧！看我恶龙启动，我极
I gotta blast faster.
这次你有什么新花样？不必鼓掌，基础操作。到我玩了！好，一个不留。复位，计时开始。去，嘿，哼，人，哼，哼，哼。 人，哼，人，人，差点转头，纵欲，落，呀，呀，快躲开啊！独行者，与我同行。
限制解除，
障碍消除，星坠于此，愿你安眠。和星星一同，没入被遗忘的世界吧。一切。 尽在掌中。好，冲击！嘿嘿。
Aha! Okay, now we're cooking.
只是打个哈欠。呀！哦。
And that's how you dominate the dominator of wolves.
大魔王来喽！
啊！
这就结束啦，真是辛苦我了。
The 1 point, guys. Can we optimize?
收到，执行。天，别想躲，纵欲，落，好，冲击！看我恶龙启动，我极不小。这次你有什么新花样？这才好玩。不打，后背，交给我吧。 休息结束。
Uh-oh.
出发。
It was so clean up until that part.
恶龙降临。收到，执行。需要我先行探路吗？是。尽扫。收。1、2、3，立爪。上方。看我恶龙启动，颤抖吧。 这次你有什么新花样？看这儿，后背，交给我吧。休息几，挡不住。再试一次，纵欲，快躲开哦！这便是独行心间之人，障碍消除，心坠于此，愿你安眠。和星星一同，没入被遗忘的世界吧。一切尽在掌中。好，战列，还原，到我玩了。好，一个不留。是时候收尾，别想躲，尽扫，收，左上右下，哼，防得住吗？嘿，哈，
Okay, we were short a little bit on the SP,
恶龙降临，
or on the astral burst rather.
收到，执行。是，好，统击，大的来喽！啊，毁灭吧！看我恶龙启动，天瀑燎原。这次你有什么新花样？这才好玩。好，走你！后背，交给我吧。尽扫，收。恶龙降临，收到，执行。别想躲，纵欲，落，好，战列，还原，看我恶龙启动，我极不朽。这次你有什么新花样？这才好玩。看这儿，到我玩了。好，一个不留。复位，计时开始，是。再试一次。
Aha, here we go. Alright, this should be enough. So then, on the next combo, I'll have enough.
心坠于此，愿你安眠。和星星一同，没入被遗忘的世界吧。一切尽在掌中。好，统击！看我恶龙启动，颤抖吧！有什么新花样？不必鼓掌，基础操作。吧嗒！好，走你！灭尽永恒！
Wow, 1 point!
助教，不朽！
Epic finish!
大魔王来喽！好，呵呵，这就结束啦，真是辛苦我了。
I'm not sure there's much more that I can really skip. So in P1, I need to use the finisher just to make sure that I end the burst so I can recover some stuff, right? I'm sure there's like a reference out there that shows the 830 that's probably probably replicatable in Red Lotus. Make sure I get my dailies done. You know who I can't wait for in Star Rail? Grand Marshal Fu Hua of the Shenzhou Alliance. when they finally make the Phoenix playable.
报错，必须被消灭。 须被消灭。
小可爱们，要好好的看着我哦。
借力打力，以眼还眼。
艾丽西亚，
希望我能
随
胜任。
时回应你的笑容。小可爱们，要好好的看着我哦。
借力打力，以眼还眼。
报错，必须被消灭。报错，必须被消灭。
小可爱们，要好好的看着我哦。
Uh-oh. We have somebody's gonna arrive and contaminate our experiment here.
丽西亚随时回应你的笑容
这次又。是什么问题？报错，必须被消灭。报错，必须被消灭。
All right, I'm probably gonna need to take a break here. I don't know how long the break is gonna be, but I need to like just pause for a little bit, and then probably after the break we will do the other gacha game dailies, and then maybe cap off with a little bit of WoW Legion at the end of this. Oh, some story time. Starting to feel a little tired. Today was kind of exhausting, so I might need to take a stream nap. Cosmo. Kind of wish that this part was voiced. These are your fans' requests? Sell sweet potatoes. Whew. That was a lot of dialogue to sit through. I kind of want to do this puzzle later. Right now I need to go take a break and just lay down for a second. Yeah, combined with the food that I just ate, I'm food coma-ing so hard right now. It's the Suramar questline. Yeah, you gotta train the Nightborn, farm that rep. Alright, we'll probably go another 5-10 minutes on break and then we'll tap dailies for the rest. Whew. Very tired today. I might have to skip WoW tonight. Get our HSR dailies done. Alright, I think HSR we don't have too much to do.
该说再见了。
世间种种，过眼云烟。
站好了。
身心清净，
放轻松。该说再见了。站好了。
与我沉沦，
放轻松。
深海欢宴中，来自各位的悲鸣。世间种种，过眼云烟。
站好了。该说再见了。
莫生气，去污除秽。
放轻松。该说再见了。站好了。
胆子很大吗？
该说再见了。放轻松。站好了。
有些喧闹。深海欢宴中，来自各位的悲鸣。
放轻松。
人类从不掩饰掌控星空的欲望，也包括我们。
站好了。
胆子很大吗？
该说再见了。
胆子很大吗？世间种种，过眼云烟。
放轻松。 与我沉沦。站好了，该说再见了。深海欢宴中，来自各位的悲鸣。放轻松，不痛啊，身心清静。站好了，与我沉沦。该说再见了。
人类从不掩饰掌控星空的欲望，也包括我们。
放轻松，有点意思。哼，站好了。深海欢宴中，来自各位的悲鸣。放轻松，该说再见了。有些喧闹，去污除秽。站好了。世间种种，过眼云烟，逃不掉的。放轻松，不醉不归。不痛啊，该说再见了。深海欢宴中，来自各位的悲鸣。站好了，放轻松，该说再见了。 さよっ。
That was HSR. Yeah. Yeah, I just needed to get the dailies done. I think once we get Genshin dailies done, we might just end stream. I'm feeling really tired today. Oh, photo event. That's my Onslaught in Theater. Theater, we got it in one try. Onslaught, I didn't really go back to do... Well, no, Theater we did go back and clear difficulty 4. But this current rotation, I didn't really enjoy the bosses that much. So I didn't really try that hard. Theater was easier than I thought it was going to be, because people did hype it up like, oh, Theater, pain in the butt this time. Turns out it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Hachi, I'm getting destroyed in the champions meet this time around because all my B rank Umas are like really outdated and they don't have enough speed for a mile distance.
当にこの近くにいるのか？見当たらないけど。いや、ダメだ。これ以上進んじゃいけない。でも、あの猫をまだ見つけられてない。このまま戻ったら姉さんに報告ができないぞ。くそー、あのバカ猫め！うわっ！びっくりした。ちょうどいいとこに来てくれた。ここら辺で黒と白のしましまの猫を見なかったか？首には青いリボンもつけてて尻尾が大きい。そうだよ。くそー、姉さん今日何をひらめいたのか急に猫探しをしろって与えに行ってきて、しかも周囲に気をつけろって。猫探しなら直接教会に依頼すればいいじゃないか。あいつらは毎日猫探ししてるんだから得意分野だろう。でも絶対にあたいが行かなきゃダメって言うんだよ。この辺りをずっとぐるぐるしてたけど猫の毛一本見当たらない。手ぶらで帰ったらまた怒られるかもな。ダメだ、話してる場合じゃない。おーい猫ー。
That was a pretty fun anecdote. All right, I think that's actually gonna be it for Genshin. Not that much left, I don't think.
夜でなくとも空が見えなくとも月の光はいつもそこにある。
Well, guys, thanks all for hanging out tonight. I think I'm gonna end stream here. We finally got one win in Champions Meet. Tracing the Heart's Journey. What is this? Oh, the anniversary recap. Agave is real. '2020! Oh my god, that was such a long time ago. Woo! I miss those days, yeah. DJ and Toki. The famous clip where we nuked Toki on the beach. Wow, 100,000 Primo Gems from daily commissions. Oh yeah, using the different abilities to find the oculi, yeah. Bennett 甘远中立, wow. Strongest support. $126 chests in a single day, wow. uh... I still never finished the epilogue because there were so many world quests I didn't do for Little One. So funny. One strike to shatter all records. A 2 million hit crit on a Moika ult. Damn. Spent a whopping 5 million Mora in a single day? What did I do? Did we have new characters that needed to get leveled? Wow. Moika. Super duper strike, yeah. Okay, so I'm glad we checked this real quick. Okay, so there's rewards for this too. Woo! All right, I think that's that. Well, at least we'll have a lot of polls ready for when Nefer releases. Looking pretty good. Able to beat a 50-50 if it comes down to it. I hope. Oh boy. Actually, do we have enough? Oh. No, we haven't. We have exactly enough for soft pity one time. Oh, oh man. I hope we win 50-50. I hope we get early. All right. GG's. Thanks everybody for. Did I use it? Yes, I did. That was the first thing I did when I got home from work. I plugged in the live stream codes and made sure I got them before they expired. Man. Oh man. Yeah, so you can see here in my mailbox, the last couple of things that I redeemed was the bonus from the special program codes, and then our anniversary recap primos here. I forgot that it's already been anniversary here. Okay, GG's, I'm gonna go lay down for a bit. If I wake up in the middle of the night and decide it's time to stream, I'll probably do a Twitch only, no YouTube stream for a while. But I need to catch up on some sleep. Or we might do some artwork, because I do need to catch up on some artwork as well. Alright, GG's. Have a good one. See you when I wake up, I guess. Yo, this champions meeting in Uma Musume is kind of hard. I might have to go into the next rank up and try to race against B+ racers. Because I'm getting destroyed in B only. Finish this race series and then we'll go offline. How about that? Alright, let's see if our final spurt is good enough. Nope, not good enough. Our wit was too low. My late surgers didn't even activate their final buff. Nope, not good enough. Alright, I think we are the top 3 favorites in this race. Let's see what we get. Oh no, they're not activating their abilities. Like, the wit is just too low. Alright, GG's. GG's. See you next time.